Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I missed you guys so much. I'm so happy to be here. Happy New Year. When is it too late to stop saying Happy New Year? I mean, it's still the beginning of the year, but this is actually my first video of 2020. I was in Miami and I had some videos that I released while I was there. So this is my first video of 2020, and I must admit that I am actually not one of those people that's like, yeah, 2020, let's get it, so hyped, so motivated. I often feel much less motivated at the start of the new year. I feel like a little, I wouldn't say down. Last year I had really bad seasonal affective disorder, not like depression at all, like not depressed, just like unmotivated. So I'm just trying to get my mojo up. My workouts are harder, making videos are harder, going through all the things I have to do in my life sometimes feel a little bit harder at the beginning of the year. I don't know why I feel this way often in January, but I'm trying to change the trend this year and I'm in a good mood. I'm happy to do this video. And this is something that I think about often. All the things that I regret selling, and I always think to myself, like, why did I sell that? And I thought, why not make a video about this? Because I think you guys would be interested to know, and maybe you can avoid making the same mistakes that I've made. Before we get started, I'm wearing a Chrome Hearts hoodie, and I gotta tell you, I got this hoodie in Miami. I love Chrome Hearts, and I can't get over, these hoodies are so expensive, and I can't get over how bad the quality is. Like, look at this inside. I feel like I'm wearing sandpaper. Like, I feel like I'm exfoliating my skin right now. I literally feel like I'm exfoliating and I should go get a spray tan after I shoot this video. Like, Chrome Hearts is so expensive. Like, can you not step it up a notch with the lining of your hoodies? Come on. All right, let's get into all the things I really regret selling. Number one, the first thing, and probably the top of my list that I really regret selling, is a small classic red Chanel bag. Actually, I think it was medium, but at the time I felt like it was so small because it was all about the jumbo bags. I guess now, since everyone's into the tiny bags, it's kind of medium. If you think about like an everyday bag, most people find the jumbo a little more functional. It's just not as trendy right now. I really wanted the jumbo vintage Chanel, which, by the way, is considered a Chanel unicorn. In order to justify getting that bag, I had to sell my little red Chanel. And I regret that so much because I know it's a little excessive to have two Chanel bags that are kind of the same style in just different sizes. But the thing about this bag is that I love wearing red, and sometimes like the jumbo Chanel is just too big. It's just too big. It just doesn't work. You want to wear it at night, and that's where this vintage Chanel that I had would have been so perfect. So I'm kind of an idiot. I actually repurchased it at a higher price, but the one that I had was like so amazing. It was a little more vintage. I love that about it because it was vintage but in beautiful condition. I love Chanel over the generations. I love collecting Chanel, like from then till now, right? And now, like, as I've gotten older, I realize like a lot of these things you just don't sell, even if you think like I'm over it, like I don't wear it, because there is gonna be a time where I'm going to wanna wear them again. So don't make the same mistake as me. That is an item I truly regret selling. Number two goes to Dior, the Dior So Real sunglasses. Now, I just don't know why I do this. Like, this was even only just a few years ago. I was obsessed with the Dior So Real sunglasses. I thought they were so cool, like so hot, so amazing. So I got them and I paid full price for them. They were really expensive. They were like over 600 Canadian dollars. And I wore them quite a bit. And then what happened was I felt like they were getting really popular. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna sell them while they're hot so I can get a good return on them. And then like by the time they're kind of like on their way out, I won't have them anymore. I think I sold them for like $400. They were still super hot and really desirable, but I could kind of just see that they were gaining so much popularity that I was kind of over them. And it's not because I didn't want them because other people had them. I just usually when things get really, really popular, I guess you get sick of it because you see it so often. So I was just like, let me sell it while it's hot. And it was just such a stupid mistake because now I am here in 2020. I'm like, those So Reals were so cool. They would be so cool to wear today. And they're just kind of like a pair that's funky that you can kind of bust out later on in life, maybe in a couple years, a few years, 10 years, 15 years. Like they're kind of like that pair that one day will become vintage and like, oh my God, those cool Dior glasses from like 2015. So now I have all these sunglasses that I'm not really into, I'm kind of over them. One day I'll remember, oh yeah, I have all these sunglasses I put away and they'll all become kind of new again. So I think that's the move right now. Another lesson learned. Number 3 goes to another Chanel bag, completely different from the red one I mentioned. And this one was a large Chanel patent leather tote. This was not classic at all, but still very, very cool. And I just don't know why I sold it. The thing is, I've sold quite a few Chanel bags in my life. The thing about this one is that it wasn't classic, but had like a classic vibe to it and had a very special look to it while kind of maintaining classic elements of, you know, typical classic Chanel bags. It was kind of a large tote. It was black patent leather with gold hardware. It had gold CC. It was actually square quilted. And this is a bag that I bought pre-owned. I think I bought it for like $900. I bought this bag when I was like just getting into designer bags. And for me at the time, that was an insane amount of money, but I was like desperate for a Chanel bag. I think it was like during the like Lauren Conrad era, you know, the Hills. And I just really, really was dying for a Chanel bag. I rocked it for a little while and then like I always do, I got over it. I think I sold it for like $1,700 because, you know, with Chanel, things go up so much. I take really good care of my stuff. So the bag was in like pristine condition. Of course, now I regret it because that's just like a really cool bag that you could still bust out later on in life. And, you know, it's Chanel. Another move on my part I will always regret. Number 3 goes to my Dior moon boots. These Dior moon boots were literally one of the very first designer items I ever purchased, like with a visa. I remember I was like, oh my gosh. And it was such a big deal for me. They were actually quite a reasonable price. Like for me, even at the time, I thought I can actually afford this, so I'm just gonna buy it. So I bought these Dior moon boots. I rocked them for a couple seasons. And then I actually sold them. I think, no, I didn't even sell them. I gave them as a gift to my friend. I was just like, you know what? I don't wear these. Have them. Like, I think because I felt they were so reasonably priced, I just was like, you can have these. And I regretted it so much. I just feel like, oh my God, I would totally wear those today. And this is a very close friend of mine. So I actually said to her, hey, by the way, do you still have those Dior moon boots? And she's like, yeah, I think they're like somewhere in my basement. Like I never wear them. And I'm like, can I have them back? She's like, yeah, totally. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So this is like what the only thing on this list that I got rid of and I actually got back. I didn't have to buy it back. I didn't have to search for it. These, I got really lucky. She wasn't even into them. She gave them right back to me and I have them. All is restored in the world. All right, number 5, also Dior. A few Dior things on this list. My Dior Shield sunglasses. Oh my God. Another stupid mistake. Okay, again, all these things on this list are like, kind of like when I just started getting into designer things, right? So I loved like big, bold logos because like I wasn't used to ever owning designer things. I finally had my own money and I just like, I wanted all these designer things. And so these Dior sunglasses were like these big shield sunglasses and they had like big, huge Dior on the side. Like huge Dior on the side. Okay, so they were like kind of like this very shieldy square rectangular shape, right? And they were so hot for the time and it was really all about big logos, which, you know, once again, it's all about logos. But then style changed. Glasses became less shieldy, more feminine. Even some became smaller. Even the large ones, they were different. They had more of like a feminine like large sunglasses vibe to them. It wasn't about the shield at all. They were kind of they were outdated. And I was so over them. I sold them on eBay for probably like, I don't know, $100 or something like that. They are big with the logo, which I could do without such a huge logo now, But the fact that they're huge and shieldy is just so good for any girl in her 30s. You know what I mean? Like sun, no. Block this area. We're not trying to get crow's feet. Okay. So, just so stupid. Number 6 goes to Fendi, my Fendi Spy Bag. Okay, every single thing on this list was like literally the starting era of my luxury purchases and collections, I guess you could say. I was desperate for the Fendi Spy Bag. This was the most money I ever spent ever in my life, ever. It was insane. I definitely had to hide it from my parents. There's no way they would have approved such a crazy amount of money for like a young girl to be spending on a handbag. So I got the two-tone one. I remember when I was buying it, the woman at the store was like, oh, well, Paris Hilton wears this. Okay, so this is when Paris Hilton was very, very famous. I remember saying to her, I don't care about Paris Hilton. I just actually love the bag. All those like paparazzi photos of these celebrities wearing these bags, I would become obsessed with them. Not because of the celebrity wearing them, maybe, but more just because I loved the style of the bag. I was never obsessed with Paris Hilton. I did not care that she owned the bag. I just loved this bag. I loved the Fendi Spy Bag. So I had like the monogram fabric with the gorgeous, pebbly, beautiful, buttery, drummed leather on the side. It had like tortoise shell handles and then tortoise like spy part. That was like why it was called a spy bag, because it had that like thing at the front that had the pocket. I was obsessed. I was obsessed. In Canadian dollars, I remember so well, it was $2,300. At the time, it was like the most insane amount of money I could ever spend. It was like the biggest deal. I went with my friend, like it was a whole thing. We made a whole day of it. She came with me to buy it. It was like, I don't know. I have this like inkling that Fendi's gonna like make another spy bag because like I said, they keep reintroducing things. I just feel like all these designers bring back these iconic bags at some point or another. So it would just be kind of a cool thing if I still had that bag. And then, I could start rocking it, stuff like that. I actually kind of like the bag. At the time, I was over it when I sold it. But now when I think about it, I think that was kind of a cool bag. I shouldn't have sold it. You live and you learn. I have a lot of learning to do, though. Since there's 10 things on this list, and probably more that I'm not even mentioning. Number 7, my Louis Vuitton Speedy bag. And the thing about my Louis Vuitton Speedy bag is that I think that the Louis Vuitton Speedy is a really great bag. It's probably not a bag I'd wear today, only because I have so many other bags I would prefer over that bag. However, I really do appreciate the bag in general. I think it's iconic. I think it's classic. I think it's a really good starting point, and it's just a great bag to have in any collector's collection and just anybody that loves the bag. I think it's a great bag. I only regretting it. 2020, we're doing great. The only reason I regret selling this bag is because it is so classic, and I feel like my daughter, she's a really big fashionista. I mean, she's just only a little girl, but she's already showing a lot of signs of being a fashion lover because, she's really into choosing what she wears, even if it's like questionable, I want her to experiment with her own style, whatever makes her feel a certain way, that's what fashion is, even if I'm like, what the hell are you wearing? But that's what fashion is, right? She doesn't necessarily know what's popping right now, but she knows that it makes her feel a certain way, and that's what fashion is. So I feel like as she gets older, she's gonna start hitting me up for things, she's gonna start wanting things. I'm not really gonna wanna lend her some of my bags. And I just feel like that would have been such a great bag to hand down to my daughter when she's at the proper age, and only when she's at a certain age. So when I would feel like it was an appropriate age for her to wear a designer item, it would have been a really good option to have that for, because it is iconic, it is classic, and it is a beautiful staple within the house of Louis Vuitton. Number 8 goes to a Gucci bag. I don't know what it was called. It had like a medallion on it, but I don't think it was called the Gucci medallion bag, but it had like this medallion on it. It was like this Gucci leather bag with this black and gold Gucci medallion on it. I loved this bag so much. I wore it a lot, and then I just decided I was one day over it and I decided to sell it. But now looking back, like, I would actually love that bag. I would love to have that bag today. I wish I still had it. It's something I'd probably still rock. It was like a little bit hobo style. I don't know what era it was from. I believe it was, like, again, every single thing on this list is from like that same era that we're talking about, that Paris Hilton, like early 2000s era. I kind of want to track this bag down. If you know which bag I'm talking about, I'll try and find a photo. But if you see these bags for sale at good prices, like, feel free to DM me. So stupid. Number 9 goes again to Gucci, a pair of Gucci monogram sandal mule heels. Okay, that's a mouthful. These were very of the time that I'm talking about. Just monogram Gucci was the thing. It's back again, you know. It was kind of like logo mania back then too. It was like monogram Gucci, you know, it was like that Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie era. You know, they had that show, The Simple Life, and they were flaunting all their designer items while doing these things on like rural farmland. I don't know. I was never really into them, so I didn't really watch the show, but just to give you an idea of the era, right? And what I'm kind of talking about. So these were monogram heels. They're actually really pretty. They were very sleek in design. I remember they had like this kind of narrow toe shape, but not pointy. Just like beautiful, sleek. Looked gorgeous on the foot. Monogram on the inside, and then you put your foot on, and then the strap over your toes was also monogram, but with like patent leather pink. And then the heel and the sole was like a shiny pink, like a fuchsia pink, a beautiful shade of pink mixed with the monogram. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed. From the Gucci boutique on Bloor Street, I bought them. It was a huge deal for me. I was buying things with my own money. I felt so accomplished. I felt so like old, like I felt like an adult. I bought them. I felt like $1 million in them. I loved them, and I wore them quite a bit. Like, that was like at the beginning when I was just kind of getting into designer and thinking, wow, that's so cool. Like, I'm wearing Gucci, oh my God. And then I kind of got over the whole monogram. I started thinking it was really tacky, and I started kind of liking a little more understated designer item. I've always had this eccentric side to me when it comes to style. Funky, eccentric, and a little bit edgy. So there's always been that side to me. But just in terms of like the logos, I thought was corny. And even if they're not classic, they come back, you know? So it's just, honestly, I'm just gonna start archiving all my things, just like put them away and bring them back out. And that's kind of like the direction everyone's moving into anyways. Everyone's talking about sustainability. And I'm really into shopping my own closet these days, like just wearing what I have. I'm not saying I'm not going to do hauls anymore. Everything that I buy, I want to repurpose and reuse, whether I donate it or I archive it in my house and then bring it back out. So that's what's going on these days. I will say that nothing that I own ever ends up in a landfill, ever. Okay, number 10, last but not least, definitely not least, is another Gucci item, the Gucci Hobo bag from the Jessica Simpson era, which is the same era as the Paris Hilton era, just that exact time. And it was this huge, oversized Gucci monogram bag. I was literally deceased over this bag. Now, this bag was right up there with the Fendi Spy Bag. Both of those bags, I think, were within a year of each other. I think those were the two biggest things I ever bought. The Gucci large Hobo bag, I remember exactly what I paid for it. I actually got it resale. That bag was also around upwards of $2,000 from the boutique. I found it resale in new pristine condition for $1,600. I got it, I paid cash, no tax. It was like kind of a deal, but still really, really expensive for me. This was a large Hobo bag. It came in two sizes. It came in like the medium size and then the large Hobo size, which Jessica Simpson was rocking all over town, being photographed by the paparazzi. I mean, she was the biggest deal at the time. And I was heavily influenced by her with this bag. And she was not like really an icon of mine. She was not someone I looked up to, but I just loved how that bag looked on her. And I wanted that bag. Like the paparazzi photos of her sold me on that bag. I was absolutely obsessed. I thought it was the best looking bag. I loved Hobo style. I thought that was the best Hobo bag you could find. It had like this gold Horsebit at the top, and I remember loving that bag so much, but I would wear it and my hair would always get caught in that Horsebit. It was like a little bit of a design flaw because the Horsebit was like on top of the leather, and you know, you'd wear it, your hair would get caught and literally like rip out. I'd get like hairs inside the Horsebit, like no, but still sick bag. I wish I didn't sell that. Why did I sell that? Oh my gosh, maybe I'll find that on eBay or something. I should make a follow-up video of like things I regret selling that I repurchased and let you guys know how much I purchased them for, where I bought them, blah, blah, blah. I really should not be spending money. That's another thing I'm trying to do a little less of in 2020, just spending. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm probably not gonna be good at that one. I probably will still be buying stuff. I'll try though. Anyways, yeah, I was really into this bag. I loved it so much until I was just so over it. And I thought, this bag is old news. It's over. It's corny. It's like, it was that Gucci-sima leather. So that's what they called it. It was the Gucci monogram embossed on leather, which they did then, they do now. It's called the Gucci-sima leather. I got really over that Gucci-sima monogram leather and just Gucci monogram everything. I thought it was really corny and old news. I got rid of it. And of course now I regret it, just like every other thing on this list. These are the top things that come to mind when I really think about all the fashion items I truly regret selling. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I think a lot of you will say, oh, it's fine, it's in the past. That was your decision at the time, so it's, you know, it's not, you shouldn't regret it. And I kind of agree with that. But, you know, now that I'm a little bit older and I kind of learned from those mistakes, I probably wouldn't do that again. So I would love to hear your thoughts and just hearing from you in general. You guys know I love hearing from you, so make sure to leave me a comment down below. If you like this video, please like this video because you guys know I worked so hard for you guys. I love you so much and that really does help me a lot. As always, I will be back in a couple days with another really fabulous video. I cannot wait to see you guys. Until next time, bye for now.